Tiffany Stratton's Instagram stories took 2 red pills last week and all hell broke loose. And after Ronda Rousey got Drew Gulak fired over a drawstring, as WWE is cleaning house of their executives amid the Vince McMahon sex trafficking scandal, Tiffany Stratton's fate was fine. And nothing happened. There's reportedly no heat on Tiffany internally, and WWE went on to praise the rising star as a favorite among management. These comments left way more questions than answers. Like, was the IG story real? Did Tiffany make a silly mistake by laughing at a racist sound? Or did she post a clip with no sound, not knowing the content of its character? Did Stratton mean to send that sound to a group chat only for Tiffy Time to accidentally post it publicly? If so, what else is in that group chat? And who's in that group chat? Is Jackson Riker in that group chat? Is this group chat controlling his narrative, nigga? Look, I'm not here to make any accusations, but WWE swept this whole controversy under the rug without anybody knowing how or why this story was posted. As of this writing, people still don't know. They just saw WWE compliment Tiffany Stratton with no context, no receipts, and said, works for me. Dave Meltzer loves standing on his stump about how the wrestling media needs to carry itself like real journalists, whatever that means. But Slingblade hasn't said a peep about this racial controversy amid all these questions left unanswered. I guess Dave Childers forgets his principles about real journalism when black women need to be protected. Maybe if Jade Cargill spoke French, Dave would have her on his podcast. Today, we're talking about Tiffany Stratton's week of racial controversy, the uber-conservative Stratton Simps who blindly came to her defense, and why WWE may want to think about going all in and booking alt-right heel characters. Subscribe in Swahili. By the way, it's an election year, and my new favorite way to read news is through ground news. With ground news, you can compare headlines and stories based on media bias and find out just how much a news site leans left, right, or center. They should invent this service for wrestling news bias one day. But point is, I love this service so much, I personally reached out, they became today's partner, and now you'll love them too. I hate cancel culture, and before I go any further, I do not think Tiffany Stratton is a bigot. I don't think she is, but I do have questions. In fact, this is the very reason I hate cancel culture. It's because when something truly racist does happen, it gets enveloped into this category of people being too sensitive and trying to cancel somebody for sport. It's been bastardized. So if Tiffany Stratton knowingly posted a sound calling Jade Cargill a black bitch, it really shouldn't fall into the America's gotten too soft, get over it category. Falls into the same category as America still has a race problem. Let's talk about it. It's weird that WWE seems to want everybody to forget about this scandal so quickly without any public comments from any of the parties involved. Honestly, it's even less weird that the lily white wrestling media is so willing to move on from all this because wrestling media whites are allergic to race talk. That's why I'm here and thriving, thank God. And as the GOAT Black YouTube channel in wrestling, I want to know what the hell happened with this social media controversy. Not to cancel anybody or swing around a pitchfork, I just want a few details. I'm just curious how a black bitch sound ended up on Tiffy's timeline. Is that wrong? I was assuming this was all one big misunderstanding until WWE went through back channels to flood the dirt sheets with praise for Tiffany Stratton without actually addressing the issue. Like, hey WWE, is Tiffany in trouble for that racist post on her IG stories? Is this post real? Have you spoken to her about this incident? Then WWE answered with, Tiffany is a beloved member of our team and management loves her too. To us, every second in WWE is Tiffy time. The end. And people just nodded their heads and moved on without WWE even trying to answer any of the obvious questions plaguing Tiffany Stratton. Nobody said if she made a mistake, if she was hacked, if she let cousin Jerry guest post for a day. Nothing. The next time Tiffany Stratton or Triple H appears at a podium for one of WWE's world famous press conferences, I dare anybody in the wrestling media to ask them to their face about what exactly did happen with Tiffany Stratton's IG account that day. Because I love to hear the answer. Not empty praise, but details. My hope is for Tiffany to have a satisfying answer and not choke like the Denver Nuggets in Game 7, right, Coach?
Stupid ass questions.
I'm telling Dave, Coach Mike Malone of the Denver Nuggets who choked in Game 7 called my question stupid. Can we do a pod about it? I just took a 23andMe and I'm actually 2% French lunch, so can we meet up at All In? For me, personally, the main subplot of the Tiffany Stratton controversy is the amount of Stratton Simps who came to her defense. And not only to defend her, but also to defend that racist-ass post as if calling somebody a black bitch is a term of endearment. After all, she's just being a heel. Quote, "Bro, it ain't that deep. It was a meme sound effect. Nothing racist about it. I'm not sure what people said to defend to Tiffany, but I just found out about this controversy today. While I don't think she meant anything by the video, the things people did to defend her was wild." Good take? Dude, get over it. Don't be so fragile because Jade is black. Stop the victimization. Heat for what? She did nothing wrong other than retweet a video that just so happens to be slightly racist. But come on, what was said could have been way worse. To quote my guys at Public Enemies, the amount of people defending Tiffany Stratton for posting that video of Jade Cargill to her IG story the other day by saying she's supposed to be a heel is quite literally insane. Tiffany Stratton clearly has a dedicated beehive, B for bigots, ready to defend her and her little racist memes too, allegedly. In no way am I implying that this is a reflection of Stratton's views. I'm also not giving her the benefit of the doubt because WWE's been so secretive in their handling of this situation. I don't know what her intentions were. What I do know, however, is this is the wrestling business. This is America, and there's clearly an audience that'll cape for political extremists who are just speaking their mind, no matter how bigoted their brain is. WWE needs to lean into that. Cancel culture be damned. WWE lucked out with Tiffany Stratton. She's essentially a pure rookie, but such a great athlete that she came along at the right place, at the right time, connected with an entire stadium in Australia at Elimination Chamber, and now she's a made woman only a few months into her main roster run. But Tiffany needs to flesh out that character beyond just Tiffy time. And she needs to stand out in ways that WWE typically doesn't allow blondes to stand out. There's been a rich history and a successful one of blondes in pro wrestling, but being blonde is kind of your gimmick in WWE. The promotion often shies away from getting deep into the personalities and motivations of blondes. Kelly was a blonde who smiled all the time, but I couldn't tell you what her motivations were. Beth Phoenix was a buff blonde. Natalya is a buff Canadian blonde, motivated by the Hart legacy. But WWE does her a disservice by not taking it further. The only time they were ever interested in developing a full-blown gimmick for Natalya is when she was busting ass. Charlotte Flair is a certified GOAT, but booked as Ric Flair's blonde daughter. Tiffany Stratton in 2024 is literally being booked as a stereotypical material Barbie blonde. But what's on the inside? What does Tiffy time really mean? And does Tiffy time take place in 2024 or 1824? What does this Tiffany Stratton character really believe about the world, for better or worse? WWE and pro wrestling at large remains behind the times when it comes to booking women. And I'd like to see more women express their desires, motivations, hopes, fears, and what makes them tick beyond being just physical marvels. Last week, Tiffany Stratton accidentally, I think, tapped into a heel character that can make her one of WWE's most polarizing draws. And instead of being just another stereotypical Barbie who loves pink, why can't WWE book a far-right cartoon conservative who hates black? I know, WWE is so sensitive and afraid of the type of publicity they'd get if they book a fake character who's intolerant and wants the world to be run by wasps. On the other side of that coin, I thought the Joe Gacy character, as a far-left insane liberal who was too inclusive for his own good, was a great character. But the second Fox News said his name, it all got dropped. Because God forbid fake WWE offers political commentary through its make-believe characters. If there's gonna be political unrest in this country, it goddamn better be real. Because there are real people like a Joe Gacy, like a Tiffany Stratton on IG stories, who are real-life living beings elected into office. So if we can have real-life villains thrive on a platform of bigotry, why does a carny wrestling company have to rise above and cater to its most sensitive fan base? Through ignoring Tiffany Stratton's racial controversy and having her come out on the other side smelling like roses, WWE has inadvertently proven that cancel culture may not be as strong as it once was. Shit, did you see that roast of Tom Brady? Some of those jokes were almost as good as mine. America is changing before our very eyes, as it always does, and maybe we've quietly entered the era of free speech. Marjorie Taylor Greene has been able to succeed with her bleached blonde, bad-built, butch bigot body, so why not use that for inspiration for the Marjorie Tiffany Stratton character? I'm being dead ass, by the way. Nobody watches pro wrestling for the morality of it all. Stop it. The most successful wrestling promoter of all time is also one of the worst humans America ever produced, allegedly. And as outraged as people were when the Vince news broke a couple times, nobody was really all that surprised, and nobody quit watching wrestling because there was a bad man associated with the sport. Part of being a wrestling fan is accepting that pro wrestling is like your toxic uncle. You love it when it's great, but you also have to come to grips with the many ugly parts of the business that are so ugly they inspired a whole Dark Side of the Ring franchise about it. Just because Vince is gone doesn't make pro wrestling wholesome as a result. Remind me, where's King and Queen of the Ring taking place again? It's like hip-hop, the best genre of music and my favorite. When hip-hop is great, there's nothing better. But sadly, the abuse of women goes largely ignored in the industry. In fact, if you go on Wikipedia right now and type in rappers who have been accused of beating women, there will be an alphabetized list of some of your favorite rappers, like if the Hall of Fame was built in a precinct.
Is there something known in the industry about how Diddy treated his artists?
So I'm going to get some cheeks after this horsepower joint.
Don't cancel me over this, but I love Chris Brown's music. Chris Brown was nominated for 5 Grammys before he ever laid a finger on Rihanna. Chris Brown post Rihanna has been nominated for 16 Grammys, winning 1. So CB didn't get to put his hands on a Grammy until he put hands on Rihanna. It's just a sad reality of hip hop.
So many people have pointed out that Diddy couldn't get away with this stuff if there weren't a lot of people protecting him. Do you think that's the case?
Who the talent agent for this joint? Like, you think I'll be sitting around watching what Diddy do and all this? I didn't know this was a Diddy joint that y'all invited me to. Who booked me for this joint?
And the sad reality of wrestling is some of wrestling's most scandalous stories inevitably become fair game to be booked for real life if the booker thinks it can draw money. Well, putting my booking cap on, WWE is supposed to be a reflection of real life, right? But having said that, it doesn't go far enough with political angles. And I can see why, with all the sponsors and a demographic that somehow thinks that circus wrestling should be held at a higher standard than real life politicians who are now somehow better at doing pro wrestling than pro wrestling. But Tiffany Stratton doesn't have to go full MAGA to get her point across. Just a few passive-aggressive microaggressions in every promo will be enough to light up social media to the point where people start asking, what did she mean by that? All Stratton needs to do is use phrases like "you people," maybe compare her minority colleagues to animals, and apparently the term "black bitch" can fly in today's WWE. Tiffany Stratton, not Jessica Woy-Nilko, could be the voice of the free speech conservative willing to dismiss outrage and bolster bigotry. I'm serious. Tiffany Stratton is a pro wrestling character. People want to say she's playing a heel, but that's only valid if she's a heel in storyline and the heel gets her comeuppance. If that was the case, I really wouldn't have a problem with WWE going in that direction with Stratton. Don't make it WrestleMania 19 where the racist character got to beat Booker T at the end. Make it more like Representative Jasmine Crockett in that House committee meeting where she came from Marjorie Taylor Greene's whole life.
I'm just curious, just to better understand your ruling. If someone on this committee then starts talking about somebody's bleach blonde, bad built butch body, that would not be engaging in personalities, correct?
A what now?
Damn!
Plus, every great wrestling character evolves over time. And there could always be a redemption arc where Tiffany Stratton learns her lesson and makes her first black friend, thereby earning her cornrows. With America veering away from cancel culture and into Netflix, there will be opportunities for more real-life toxic heels. That's the one thing this business is missing, and something that would help it go mainstream and connect with more casual fans while on the biggest streaming platform in all of entertainment. Again, WWE does not have to beat you over the head with politics and racism from its heels. All it takes is the implication, which often incites more outrage than direct prejudice itself. Check out this video about Dave Meltzer becoming a complete parody of himself and subscribe. Do you have questions for Tiffany Stratton? Should WWE lean into more toxic heel characters? Are you a black bitch? Tell me in the comments.